On May 30th, 2007, Bruce Yarborough showed up at the refuge with Wanoka, a bobcat. How old was he when you got him?
3 weeks old.
Where did you get him at?
I bought him from a breeder in Oklahoma.
What part? The southeast part?
Tishomingo.
Tishomingo, Oklahoma. Turpentine Creek has had to rescue other bobcats from people who bought them from the same breeder. He usually asks about $300.
His left leg, he's got a steel rod in his left leg.
Left front?
Yes, his left front leg, because he broke it, and they put a steel rod in it. And he's got a little bit of a limp, but Dr. Baines, I took him about 4 or 5 months ago, and she x-rayed it, and she said it's healed back perfectly. You can't even see the crack in it or nothing.
Is that Dr. Baines in Little Rock?
Yes.
Or North Little Rock,
yes.
actually?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bone is just a little bit crooked, and that's why he's got a limp. But she said he's not in any pain at all.
Right.
But he's an awesome cat. He really is. He loves to play. I go out and I had a big, huge cage that he was in, and I'd go out and I had pedestals and logs and stuff in there.
What prompted you to get rid of them? I mean, at what point did you realize you had to find them a home?
My marriage is pretty rocky right now, and I don't know. It's really in limbo, and I'm not sure that we're going to make it. And I have a 32-foot fifth wheel. I'm retired. And I have a 32-foot fifth wheel, and I'm going to have to go somewhere, you know, move somewhere, and I won't have a place for him, you know. And I was talking to Tanya yesterday. If something happens that we don't make it.
What's the name of the town where you bought him at again?
Tishomingo, Oklahoma.
Were you required to show any regulated paperwork or anything like that?
I got a permit because I took 4 or 5 months and traveled to California and took him with me, you know, and when he was younger, and I had to have a permit to carry him through the states, but that's all I had to have.
What'd you pay for him when you bought him?
$300.
$300?
Mm-hmm. The breeder recommended that I have him declawed when he was 12 weeks old, and I couldn't do it. But what I was going to tell you now, his left paw, now his right paw, I used to go have have his claws trimmed about every 4 or 5 months from Dr. Baines, but it was so traumatic for him to get put down, you know, or not put down, but sedated. Yeah. And so I just stopped it. But his left claws aren't growing as fast as his right, and they're still not real sharp, and I don't know if it's because of the breakage in his paw, you know, or his leg or what, but now his right claws, they're sharp, man. They're back out really. They can hurt you. When I'd go to bed, I had a big dog kennel I'd put him in, and then in the morning I'd let him out of that. I wouldn't leave him unattended in the house, you know. You're not a happy boy, huh? Yeah, this is all strange, isn't it? You know, tattoos on my arm.
Oh.
That's a real picture.
We'll have you drive around the side over here.
Come here, boy. Come here.
The one that gave it to you.
Wanoka, come here. Come here. Come here. He got mad at me one time and he slapped me right there.
Well, you got scarred from that one.
Oh man, that was deep. I mean, he slapped me. And the first time he bit me right here. And this was about a year ago. And what happened? The little cage I had him in before in this little cage I had before I got the big one built, he was on top of his little house in it, and he was laying on his back on top of it, and I had a light through some plastic for heat, you know, in the little house, you know, cold, so it had warmth. And I had a can around that so he couldn't chew into the cord, okay? he was laying on top of the little cage, and he had his paw down like that. And my wife smokes, and she was out on the back porch smoking, and the little cage was right there. It was about a 4x6 cage, and she said, "You better come look at your cat. There's something wrong with him." And he's just laying there. And so I walked over, and I seen he had chewed on that can, and his mouth was bloody. This tin can, he had chewed on it and just mangled it in some areas. And I looked down, and he had one of his claws hung in that little chicken wire. It was real tiny little squares, and the squares I have was about this size. There's a 2x4, a square of wire.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got a hold of his harness in the back of his head, you know, like that, and I reached down and I got his claw loose. Well, in doing that, I accidentally undid the top part of his leash, or of his harness, and so it was dangling down, and so I reached up to try to snap it back, and he wouldn't let me. And I said, "Wanoka, let me do this." And I kept trying to do it, and pretty soon he just went, man, he got me really, just bit me right there. And I mean, within 30 minutes, it was swollen up. You couldn't even see my knuckles.
Oh, man.
And I didn't get mad at him, because, you know, his claw was hurt. And,
They're wild animals.
well, of course, you know, and you got to respect them. Always respect a wild animal, you know. It's a big responsibility. A very big responsibility. The only time he would hurt me is if I cornered him and made him mad, you know, and then he would bite me.
When you bought the Bobcat from them for $300, did you go to their facility, or did they come to you?
I went to their home.
How many did they have?
He had about 30 cats in big cages. They were strictly wild. He bred them. That's all he did was breed them and sell them.
Yeah. Were there just Bobcats there?
No, he had raccoons and bobcats, and he might have had some minks. I'm not sure. My name is Butch Yarborough, and I brought my cat Wanoka here, and I'm very pleased to bring him here.
Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge has rescued over 140 big cats from 16 different states all over the country. Turpentine Creek relies on your donations to make this endeavor possible. To get involved, go to www.turpentinecreek.org.